a massive amount of news has come out about Star Trek over the last couple of days, and we just got teed off with some season renewals and the LA premiere of Star Trek Picard. Let's pour it up! Hey everybody, Ketwolski here. Welcome back to the show. This is going to be your weekly Earl Grey pour-up covering a lot of the news that kind of has happened recently with Star Trek, and boy, has there been a lot of stuff. I am exhausted, I am tired, I am emotionally drained from work, but we are here to talk about Star Trek, and I'm very, very excited about that, and it's getting my creative juices just flowing straight up, and I can't wait to get some of this information out to you guys who may not even be aware of it, and to get the conversation started about all this exciting Star Trek news. Okay, so the big one that we got, obviously, which kind of took the cake of all the other news, which was something that we already knew, which is the official confirmation of Picard Season 2. Now, this is something that we had talked about in a previous video that I kind of covered in a video titled Picard Renewed for a Second Season, based off of Patrick Stewart's kind of discussions that he had, and Michael Chabon's, kind of discussions about his new show that he's doing with CBS and stepping down as showrunner and stuff like that. So we already kind of knew this was coming, but Alex Kurtzman and CBS and Star Trek CBS All Access has officially confirmed that Picard has been renewed for a second season, and they are going to be likely starting to do pre-production and even filming as early as this May, which is just awesome and super exciting, and I can't wait to see what this season has in store to leave us onto an awesome cliffhanger I'm sure we're going to get leading us into the second season. Speaking of Picard, the LA premiere of Star Trek Picard happened last night, where they showed off the very first 3 episodes of the first season. And speaking in an interview just a couple of days ago, Alex Kurtzman did state that the first relative chapter of Star Trek Picard was going to be taking place on Earth. So my speculation is we saw the first 2 or 3 episodes are going to be taking place on Earth, and that's what the audience got to see last night. And likely he's going to be teeing off with the Rikers and then going off on his adventure to go save Dahj and uncover this mystery of this Romulan Borg cube and what they're up to and different synthetics and what they're doing with the different data things and what the heck's going on in Star Trek Picard. So I think that 3rd episode also has a bit of a cliffhanger to kind of keep the audience there intrigued as to what's going to happen next, while also setting up a future adventure for us to enjoy as, general audience members. So super jealous for all those who got to go to the premiere. If you did go, throw up how your experience was up down below, or shoot me a message on Twitter or whatever it is. I'm curious to see and hear what you got to get as gifts, and if you met any actors or any of that cool stuff. I'm curious to hear about your experience. So great job if you got to go there, and I'm super jealous, and I literally cannot wait. We're T- here. We are so close to the stateside and international premiere of Star Trek Picard Season 1, and I cannot wait for it. Also, speaking during an interview, both Alex Kurtzman and Heather Caden dropped a bunch of little bits of tidbits and kind of updates for the Star Trek universe as a whole. And I want to lead off with the other kind of bombshell bit of news that we got from that interview, which is that there are 2 new live action shows in development over at Secret Hideout. Now, this does not include the Discovery, Picard, Section 31, Lower Decks, which is the animated show, and the Nickelodeon show, which is also going to be animated. There's 2 additional live-action shows being in production now. It wasn't quite clear if they were going to be short-run, kinds of seasons, or mini-seasons, or mini-movies, or just, kind of just movies for streaming, or if it's going to be full-blown multiple-season type shows. And it's not clear as to what those shows are. They did talk again about Pike possibly being one of those shows, but nothing has been confirmed as of yet. The only thing that we kind of got a little bit of information on is, of course, over at the, U.S. Trademark Office website. You can still search for Star Trek, and they actually just recently renewed the trademarks for both the SETI Alpha series, or whatever the, streaming series is based off of that trademark, and an Academy series. So that could be where we're headed, a Starfleet Academy and a SETI Alpha 5 show, which would, of course, deal with Khan, being left on that planet after, his interaction with Kirk during the original series, and then kind of leading up into the Wrath of Khan, the film. But it's not quite clear if that's what they're doing there, or maybe they're going to use that for something else, or what any of these 2 live-action shows are. But that puts us right now at a total of 7 in-development products for Star Trek, including a 4th, potentially 4A, or maybe even a reboot of the Star Trek film franchise. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. So, another news story broke recently that said the Noah Hawley Star Trek film wasn't going to be in the Kelvin universe, and it was going to be something entirely different with different characters, and It's interesting to me to see that really nothing has been super official about this yet, other than just kind of trade articles and entertainment publications talking a little bit about it. So my feeling is, and maybe this is just my gut feeling, is that Paramount and Viacom CBS, really just Viacom CBS now, but Viacom CBS is putting out some feelers to see what the demand expressions are for a Kelvin sequel film or a total reboot of the Star Trek movie franchise. I don't think that they have an idea yet in mind for either one. Maybe they've got some kind of, storyboard ideas, but nothing solid yet. So I think they're trying to gauge what the audience's reaction would be to going in either direction. So I think that's kind of what they're doing here. I know that Simon Pegg did an interview maybe a few weeks ago where he said, I don't know anything about this Noah Hawley thing, if it's going to be Kelvin or what. He didn't really know about it, but that's not to say that he was either lying or maybe he doesn't know about it just yet, or maybe they are going in an entirely different direction. It could also be a very common tactic in movie, productions in order to say, well, we're not going to do this movie with you guys anymore to try to help deal with salary negotiations, because if they go in a totally different direction without bringing back any of the actors, they may reduce their salary requirements in order to make sure that the film gets made and they get some kind of money as opposed to none at all. So there's definitely some stuff happening there. But we know for sure, television side of the house, we've got 7 in production projects and a movie doing something. So this is definitely, we are spearheading right into the golden age of Star Trek right now, a second golden age of Star Trek. And I'm very excited to be even alive and talking to all of you about it. Another little bit of news that we got based off of the last couple of days is that Will Wheaton is going to be brought back to do kind of a live podcast show. It's probably going to be replacing the After Trek show, which nobody really liked. The people kind of liked the first one. The second one was like on Facebook Live, which was kind of weird, but now I think they're going to be doing a more formal podcast show, which I think is going to replace After Trek a little bit, but also do much more things and kind of have a more social media presence for Star Trek, not only producers, but actors and people behind the scenes, the different developers, and kind of give it a little bit more of a formal presence in social media, which is something that I talked about during my How to Fix the Star Trek franchise video I did a couple weeks ago, so maybe somebody watched that and put Will Wheaton in charge. I don't know. Another thing I do want to go ahead and talk about is Section 31 has begun officially pre-production. They started to slide over Michelle Yeoh because Discovery obviously has wrapped up their 3rd season of filming with reshoots, so she'll be kind of moving over there along with any of the other actors that may be going over there. We do know for sure that several of the production team members, and I think they did this a couple weeks ago in an interview, that several of the production team members from Discovery have already been pulled over to start building up the resources for Section 31. So that show is going full steam ahead, which I'm very excited about to see. That's the one that I'm most curious about. A lot of these kind of have a general feel to it. Pike, we kind of know what we're going to get. Picard, we're going to get Adventure for Captain Picard. But for Section 31, other than them saying it's going to be like the Western Unforgiven starring Clint Eastwood, I don't know what the hell this show is going to be about, so my ears are mostly peaked up for that show in particular, and for Lower Decks. Like, both of them kind of have like these weird premises that we're not quite sure what they're going to be, but I'm very excited to see what we actually get, and hopefully it's a good product. I'm very excited to see it. So the last little thing here, this isn't so much news as the other ones were. Those were all confirmed type things, about what's going on. This is much more speculation on my part, but I do believe, based off of Production Weekly, which I've used before to kind of accurately predict different, release dates and scheduling for things for filming and when things were kind of going into production. Production Weekly has dropped one of their recent articles that showcased Star Trek Discovery Season 4 has begun pre-production and casting. So I guess the people who are saying that Star Trek Discovery is going to be canceled after the 3rd season, I think may have to eat a little bit of crow for being wrong about that. It's unclear if they're going to be going for a full-on 4th season, or maybe they're going to do like a truncated season to wrap up the story, or maybe it'll turn into a movie, or if they're going to go for a next full season order again. But either way, I'm hopeful that Season 3, which is operating as kind of a soft reboot, I'm hopeful that it's going to really help re-energize the fan base a little bit and kind of bring people together. There's going to be folks that hate it no matter what. We can't do really anything about that because they've already kind of made up their minds at this point. But I hope that everyone who's kind of in the middle on Discovery and Star Trek right now kind of gets pulled into the fold with a, reinvigorated Discovery. And I hope that they really knock it out of the park here, which, in case that, that does happen, that would of course warrant the 4th season, which I think that we're going to get the official announcement on here soon. I think they're slow. CBS is a little slow with these announcements. They kind of have their own internal process for when they want to update people on these things, but probably towards the tail end of Picard or even the beginning of Discovery Season 3 is when we'll get something official on that. But like I said, Production Weekly has been pretty reliable. I would say almost 99% reliable when it comes to understanding when things are going to be going into production, because that's something that actual people within the industry utilize in order to look at different productions happening, for job listings, for, allocating resources in different areas. A lot of people use that. It's an official thing. So I think that that's a pretty solid indicator that we're going to get a 4th season of Discovery. All right, everybody, that kind of wraps up the Earl Grey pour-up for today. I'm going to do another video probably sometime over the weekend to kind of talk a little bit about some of the initial reactions that we got from the Picard premiere, because, again, they showed off the first 3 episodes, and then in there, I'll talk a little bit more about my feelings about what happened with Children of Mars, so kind of go ahead and get that conversation started and talk a little bit about my theories as to what the whole, situation of the little plot tease at the end, if you would, means for the rest of the season. So it's definitely something I did not expect, but I am excited to talk to you guys about that. So what do you guys think about all this news? Are you excited for a 2nd season of Picard? Do you think we're going to get a 4th season of Discovery? What do you think's going on with Noah Hawley? What do you think that's going on with any of these stories? I'm excited to hear what your guys and gals' input is on any of these things. Throw up your stuff down below. Let's go ahead and get the conversation started, and I'll see all of you guys next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies!